which will put people in mistake. You don't want to do that. I'll see if any others occur to me as we go through it, but those are the kind of big mistakes that people do make. Now, this is what I think is interesting, and you're getting closer to mind mapping now. The three whats of a story. And this is not my original idea, but I've forgotten, unfortunately, who I stole it from. But the three whats about a story. And what is the story? So what kind of story is it? So what? Why should I care? Why should anybody care? And wait, what? Which is the thing that makes it unique, or different, interesting, something surprising in a way. Now, depicting what is simple. What genre are we talking about? Because there are lots of stories that if you don't tell me what genre it is, I'm thinking, this could be a thriller, but it could be a black comedy. I don't know. But you don't want them thinking that. You want them listening to the story and putting it into the category that you have in mind. So I usually start with the genre. And so this is a thriller called whatever. And the title I try to make reflective of the nature of the script. And then if it's a different time period or some other key element that you think is very important for them to know right off the bat, then you would mention that as well. So that would be after your chit-chat and small talk, you would tell them what you're pitching, what genre, what the name is, and the era if it's different. Pitching so what is why will the audience care? And this should come out as you talk about the story. So I mentioned this one I pitched where they're saying it could be young people. But as I told the story of this older gentleman who wakes up to life again, I didn't have to say the message is or the theme is it's never too late. That was obvious. It emerged from the story. So I don't usually spell it out. I try to make sure that the story and the way I tell the story reflects so what, why the audience is going to care. And pitching, wait, what is the story's USP? Unique selling proposition, high concept, if possible. Now, not all stories are high concept, but so for example, this would be, the wait what would be the eternal story of Romeo and Juliet on the world's most famous ship, Titanic. Okay, right away, probably, even if it hadn't been him, James Cameron said, oh, that's interesting. So if you can find that in your story, that's important. Because that's a unique selling proposition. So what is unique about it, basically? What's unique about your story, different about the story, kind of thing that's going to make people sit up and say, oh, that's interesting. So if we were going to do Ebenezer Scrooge Christmas Carol, the what is, this is a family drama set in England during Victorian times in the Christmas season. About pitching that. So that's the setup now, the person listening knows, got a context for what they're going to do, right? In a pitch, it's a good idea, I think, often to lead with the wait what if you have one, and I'll talk in a moment about coming up with it for stories where it's not so obvious, but the wait what could be, at times, is a solitary miser, Ebenezer Scrooge was changed by a visit from 3 ghosts. So the ghost element is what would make people hopefully show interest in it. So, oh, that's different. Christmas drama, but with ghosts. Obviously, it's not different now because he wrote it, but we're pretending he pitched it back then. And so what? Again, this is not something I would spell out, but over the course of the story, we see that his transformation, again, like my ship story, shows it's never too late to change. That's what we should be able to figure out after hearing the story. That's what it's really about. So now we're getting into the mind map. So those elements are very useful. The what or the wait what first in the pitch, the what and the so what. Starting with the what, name, genre, etc. Then the element that makes it special, and then the story itself. One of the ways that people often start a pitch is something like, what if, and then the premise. So now in some cases, where it's an obvious high concept story. What if space aliens invaded Washington, D.C. and blew up the White House? Okay, some of those stories are very obviously high concept, but you can also do it for stories that are not so obviously high concept as a way to catch people. So for example, you could do, you could say, what if, or my protagonist wakes up one morning and finds a strange man next to her in her bed. Now, it sounds like a weird sci-fi thriller, but it also could be a story about Alzheimer's. But it puts it kind of into a different frame to say that, because that's what it must be like. If you're suffering, and unfortunately I have a very good friend who's going into this phase of dementia, and she's 88, and the other day I was talking to her, and she said, maybe I should go live with my parents. Well, very heartrending story. But again, if you say, well, my story is about Alzheimer's, and this woman had it, well, again, you want to become alive. And by saying she wakes up, there's a strange man in her bed, that's her perception. So maybe you're telling a story through her eyes. There's a very interesting play called Father in the West End in London. I saw it before I came over here, with Kenneth Branagh in the lead role. And the opening scene is a guy, an old man, with his daughter, and they're just having a little conversation. She says, oh, I'll get that from the kitchen, Dad, get him some tea. And she goes out, and in comes a different actress. And he says, who are you? And this other person says, Dad, don't be silly. And that was the way they kept changing characters, because that was the story of his sinking into, unfortunately, dementia. And it was a way of dramatizing what it's like for him. And then it starts to get very mixed, where you don't know, is this really what's happening? Is he really being bullied by the son-in-law, for instance, or is that his perception because, he's losing control of his life? So you can find angles and ways to present even what are traditionally character-based stories that still fulfill that, wait, what? Moment of, oh, that's interesting, that's a little bit different. So use a mind map, and I'll show you one in a minute, but you can use it a number of times. I use them when I'm making the spine of the story. So when I'm first coming up with a story and plotting it, and also when I've written the first draft and I think about what changes I want to make, and I'll explain this as we look at the map. But also, particularly for this meeting, we're talking about it as a one-page pitch notes, basically, with content and delivery reminders. So let me show you the format. I'll show you the visual version of this in a minute, but it's the title, the main topic in the center, then branches going out from the 1 o'clock position to going clockwise, and sub-branches to sub-sub-branches. Usually words or phrases, not sentences, because you want to get as much content into one page as you can. And you can add reminders, notes about delivery style. Let me show you what I mean. And this is another example of the generic structure of the mind map. Now, some people use color, so here they use different colors. Some use illustrations. I don't get that fancy. I just use words, basically. Although sometimes if there's a key point, I might underline it or do circle it in red or something like that. Here's an example. So this is during the brainstorming a story moments. So I'm thinking, what if I thought of E.T.? Wouldn't that have been nice? Yes. But let's say I have an idea for an alien boy story, right? So I'd start by brainstorming the boy. So that's one branch, slightly higher than 1 o'clock. But so what age should he be? What's a good age if I'm going to have this interaction? And maybe I want it to be a more innocent story, because if he's a teenager, then that's one direction, but maybe I want to be 10 or 12 years old. So what kind of personality would work in the story? Well, again, it depends on how much I've thought through what I want the story to be. But maybe he helps you be shy. What if he's semi-autistic? And what abilities does he have, as well as what are the drawbacks to the shyness and so on? What kind of alien do I want? Like the child one. Vulnerable in someone, needs help, so I want to think more about what kind of help the alien needs. Then what about the conflict? Who's the conflict between? So the siblings, the older siblings, and this lonely boy, they don't want to, the brother doesn't want to include him. Maybe the parents are having their own conflict about divorce, and eventually then you have government agents after who want to dissect by ET, and we want to have a ticking clock. So these are all ideas. Probably there'll be a lot more of these, some of which I would then eventually cross out and make choices. And you can see how different aspects of the story you can lay out. This isn't the structure of the story yet, this is just the elements of the story when you're brainstorming, okay? So sometimes what happens is that when you start laying things out like this, different elements, you start to see connections. If you say, well, if he's very shy and semi-autistic, then even though he has a brother, maybe they're not that close. Could be the age difference, could also be personality difference, etc. So you start to think about connections, and new ideas come up as those connections occur to you.
Jurgen,
Yeah.
would you like me to break so we can do a camera change?
Okay, sure.
Sorry.
All right.
The city